So I'll start with an easy one. Why does Chartwell's shut at 2 p.m?
So we have a contract with them that covers all of our catering across the whole university. So every year we have a planning meetings with them to look at timing. So it has to work for them and for us. So basically if we ask them to stay open longer in certain areas and it costs more, then the overall contract costs more. So it's a balance really between providing services the times when they're most needed, and then when there's areas are less busy, then closing.
The question is, what are they and how do we understand what is needed and what is necessary and how do we grow those resources? In terms of capital, we probably spent upwards of £2 million, possibly more than £2.5 million over the last 3 years in upgrading facilities, changing facilities and putting new equipment in Poor House.
Will go some way towards helping us with space. So there's around 24 seminar rooms, 3 lecture theatres, lots of other collaborative space in the building. We are growing as a university. We've had portable buildings for a number of years, which we're hoping to lose at some point soon. So it will redress some of the imbalance. It will help us in terms of providing high quality space for our students, but it's only part of the solution.
I think we have to take it seriously, and if people are victims of online bullying or whatever, we need to deal with that with the individual. So I'm very firm about that because, as I say, I think it extends into people's professional lives as well when they qualify in whatever discipline. So it's really important we address it early on. And some people, I think it's about raising awareness of the impact of what we say can have further down the road. And some people just may not be aware of quite how they're saying things.
We do have a policy as well, social media policy, and I think I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a code of conduct, but we do have that. We ratified that within the last 12 months, and so enshrined within that is the principle that everyone ought to be responsible, for social media and their awareness of social media and the use of social media within the university environment and outside.
Yes. There are. I think I'd like to know, going back to the point about co-creation, I think I'd like to engage students in how we can do that better.
I think just to add to that, there's lots more we can do from an activities point of view, but we do picture ourselves as a one campus, 2 sites university, so we're trying to do lots of things to try and connect the 2 sites together. So as we move the temporary buildings, the tech buildings off the site, green spaces will go back in. So we'll be doing that starting next summer actually with the one between Weymouth House, and back at Poor House. So that will become green space. And there is lots of plans to green up the rest of the spaces around our current buildings, but also to start knocking some buildings down on this campus in particular, and they will go back then to green space as well. So our vision for this campus is a parkland campus. That's what we're aiming to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years. And parks have lots of trees and bushes and grass, so we need lots more of that to go back in. And lots more work to move the car parking spaces to the outside, and then to bring the green spaces back in. Because we're actually in a really green location here with heathland on one side, the woods to the north, and then not that far from the beach. So we want to make the most of that setting and to bring those green spaces back into the campus. So you will see more and more mobile rooms, mobile buildings moving, being replaced by green spaces. So they've all got, they have solar panels, ground source heat pumps, rainwater collection is a feature of Fusion Building 1 as well. So they are what's called BREEAM, which is a building regulation standard, BREEAM Excellent, which is what we're aiming for across the board. So I think we're currently 7th in the Green League for universities in the UK. We want to be number 1.
The general one, I think, certainly from the School of Tourism days, about 3 or 4 years ago, we began to realise that our assumption that placement students came back and hit the ground running cliche was wrong. We found that they felt unloved, the place had changed while they'd been away, rooms had changed, buildings had arrived, staff had left. So we've been working very hard to make them feel more loved when they come back in a variety of ways. There was communication through my BU about the move to a faculty of management, so it was there. Most of the discussion clearly was probably with the existing students actually on campus, but there were sort of questions and answers, things on my BU and so on. So it was a move, the university was moving from schools to faculties.
I just feel like it wouldn't take the programme leader or whatever to come into a lecture, take 10 minutes of time being like, these are changes,
Right.
this is what the new SUBU building is, for example, we have no clue about this. The Centre of Excellence of Learning,
Yeah.
no clue about that. And it's just various stuff where you just feel a bit abandoned from it.
I accept entirely what you're saying. One of the problems for fourth years coming back, there's probably a lot to tell you, and we're conscious that even the first year induction, if we bombard you with stuff day after day, you just sit there going, yeah, whatever. Because in a sense it's too much information, but that's not an excuse for not giving you more. But we have done a lot more for fourth year returning students in terms of just informal contact, getting to know you again. Realising you don't come back and hit the ground running, you often feel quite lost.
Yeah.
Actually, it's quite a difficult transition from being perhaps quite an important manager in a business or an organisation to suddenly be, by some staff, treated like a student again, and it doesn't always work very well. So it's a different relationship, but we are working on it, but I'm not saying it works perfectly.
Great. That's all we have time for. That's all the questions we can take. So I'd just like to thank the panel for coming today and for answering our questions. And hopefully you all got some good information from it. And thank you all for coming.
No, thank you.